Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we break down financial jargon so you don't have to, because what is Zura Bio Ltd's latest report telling us about their future? Is it a sign of progress or just more red ink? Let's find out. Alright, before we dive deep into the numbers, if you love getting these straightforward breakdowns of company reports, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and hey, we have a fantastic community over on Discord. It is linked in the description below, so come join the conversation. This is Zura Bio Ltd's quarterly report for the period ending the 30th of September 2025, and it gives us a snapshot of where the company stands financially. Let's start by looking at their balance sheet. At the end of September 2025, Zura had about $139 million in cash and cash equivalents. That is down from roughly $176 million at the end of 2024, so they are spending money which is typical for a company in their stage. Overall, their total assets went from around $179 million to about $143 million. That decrease is mostly because their cash pile got smaller. Looking at what they owe their accounts payable, and accrued expenses went up from about $19 million at the end of 2024 to over $25 million by September 2025. This indicates they are taking on more short-term obligations, which could be for operational expenses or research and development costs. Now this is a big one. Their accumulated deficit, which is basically all the losses since the company started, grew from almost $156 million at the end of 2024 to over $207 million by September 2025. This means they are still losing a lot of money, but that is not uncommon for clinical stage biotech companies. Moving on to their income statement for the 3 months ending September 2025, Zura reported a net loss of about $18 million. That is pretty similar to the nearly $21 million loss they had in the same period in 2024. Their research and development expenses more than doubled from about $6 million in 2024 to nearly $12 million in 2025. This jump is a key indicator that the company is heavily investing in its drug candidates, and that is understandable given their business. Interestingly, their general and administrative expenses dropped significantly from about $13 million in 2024 to around $7.5 million in 2025. Much of this decrease seems to be due to a large one-time share-based compensation charge related to former executives in 2024, which inflated that number. When we look at the bottom line, the net loss attributable to their class as shareholders was about $20 million in the third quarter of 2025. That is a slight improvement from a nearly $23 million loss in the same period of 2024. Now let's look at the bigger picture. For the first 9 months of 2025, Zura reported a net loss of about $51.5 million. That is a substantial increase from the almost $39 million loss in the same period of 2024. This larger loss is mainly driven by that big jump in research and development spending. Their research and development expenses more than doubled for the 9-month period, jumping from around $15 million in 2024 to over $31 million in 2025. This really highlights their commitment to pushing their drug candidates through clinical trials. General and administrative expenses did increase slightly from about $24 million to over $25 million. For the 9-month period, this increase is likely due to hiring more staff and the general costs of running a growing company. The total net loss for the 9 months of 2025 climbed to over $51 million compared to about $38 million in 2024. This widening loss mirrors the increased investment in their research. Looking at their cash flow from operations, the company used about $42.5 million in the first 9 months of 2025. That is a significant increase from the nearly $17.3 million used in the same period of 2024. This means they are burning more cash to fund their operations, which is directly tied to the increased R&D spending. On the financing side, they had cash provided from financing activities of about $5.2 million for the first 9 months of 2025. This is a stark contrast to the over $110 million provided in the same period of 2024. This difference likely reflects a substantial equity raise in 2024 that did not repeat in 2025. Now let's touch on some of the more complex parts. Zura is involved in several important licensing agreements. One key one is the 2023 Lilly license for their drug candidate tibulizumab. This agreement involves various milestone payments and royalties that could become quite significant if the drug is successful. They also have a redeemable non-controlling interest related to Stone Peach Properties and Z33 Series Seed. Preferred shares, this is a complicated financial instrument that involves potential redemption of shares or shares in exchange. For their own stock, this situation is currently in flux, with Stone Peach exercising certain rights. A notable event was the warrant exchange in August 2024, where public and private placement warrants were exchanged for Class A ordinary shares. This essentially settled some of their outstanding warrant obligations. The company has an equity incentive plan which allows them to grant stock options and other awards to employees and directors. This is a common practice in the biotech sector to attract and retain talent. The expense related to this share-based compensation was around $2.4 million for the third quarter of 2025 and about $9.8 million for the first 9 months. This is a significant non-cash expense that impacts their reported profitability. Under commitments and contingencies, they mention potential legal proceedings, but state they are not currently involved in any material ones. This is a standard disclosure, but important to note that potential lawsuits are always a risk for public companies. The report also addresses how global economic factors like inflation, geopolitical events, and changes in government policy could affect their business. This is a general risk factor, but highlighted here shows they are aware of external economic pressures. Their research and development expenses are substantial, a significant portion being external expenses for contract research organizations and manufacturing materials internal costs. Primarily personnel related are also growing. This shows their core business is focused on these R&D efforts. General and administrative costs are expected to increase as the company grows and operates as a public entity. This includes legal accounting and compliance costs associated with public company requirements. A particularly interesting and concerning risk factor is the mention of an ongoing internal review of certain agreements with BAFX 17. And Stonepeach, the audit committee, is looking into these matters, and the outcome is uncertain. This review has led to delays in payments and the settlement of contract obligations. The report clearly states this could adversely affect their business reputation, financial condition, and results of operations. The company also highlights the risk associated with disruptions at regulatory agencies like the FDA due to government funding shortages. This is a reminder of how external governmental factors can impact the pace of drug development and approvals. In essence, Zura is a company heavily investing in its future through substantial research and development spending. Their cash reserves are decreasing as expected, and the company is still in the loss-making phase. However, there are significant risks noted, including an ongoing internal review of key contracts and potential disruptions from global economic and governmental factors. So what is my take on this? Filing well, Zura's strategy of aggressive investment in R&D is clear. Their financials show they are burning cash as planned. But the increase in R&D spending is notable. The decrease in general and administrative expenses is good news though. It seems largely tied to a one-time event. The key concern really lies with that ongoing internal review of agreements with BAFX 17 and Stonepeach. The delay in payments and the uncertainty around the outcome of this review could create significant headwinds and potentially impact their operations or financial health. The company acknowledges this explicitly as a major risk, so we need to watch this closely. The dependence on future financing also remains critical factor for any early stage biotech company. What do you think about Zura Bio Ltd's latest report and these financial insights? Do these numbers paint a picture of future success or caution? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this breakdown helpful, please smash that like button. It really supports the channel, and of course subscribe for more deep dives into the financial world. And hey, do not forget to join our Discord community, linked in the description below for more exclusive content and discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.